Okay, so today I'm changing my engine mounts on a 911 Carrera. I'm also going to change all of the associated hardware. This has seen better days. And the first thing you need to do is support the engine. Here is a jack which I've used, and an important thing to note is that I've purchased a jack pad which goes over the pad that's fixed to the jack, and on that new pad there is a channel cut out, and the engine casing in the middle has a groove which fits into the channel nicely. You don't want to jack the car all the way up. The wheels stay on the ground, and you must make sure that you do only one side at a time. Don't be tempted to undo both. If you do, the engine may shift, and once that's happened, the cross member, which you'll see here, if that moves, then you're going to have a hell of a job realigning the holes. So the way to start this is to take out the large bolt in the middle. But before I can do that, I need to take off this fuse box cover here because it fouls that particular bolt there. In addition to that, before I started, I took out this pipe here, which goes between here and up here for the air. And that's important to do so you have enough access, because it is very tight. Now I've used a breaker bar like so to crack off the nut in the first place. Once that's done, I'll then move over to a small ratchet which will take it out the rest of the way. You need to use a 19mm socket on your ratchet in order to undo the big bolt. Now that the main bolt has been removed from the engine mount, what's left are these two side bolts. They're 13mm. What you have to do is put a spanner underneath the mount, and you hold the bolt in place while you turn, and it should then slowly come out, and you should be able to release both of these and thereby take out the mount. So here's the 13mm spanner which I'll place underneath. And in addition to that, I have a torque bar with a 13mm socket at the end of it, which I'll be using to undo the bolt from the top. So this is what the bolt looks like once it's removed from the mount. You've got a washer which sits here, so that goes into the top of the mount, and over here underneath you've got a washer, and the bolt goes through the washer and then through that nut, and that's the nut underneath which you have to hold in place when you're unscrewing this bolt. Once you've taken out both bolts, the engine mount itself, you should be able to just pull it out like so. And that's what's left, and you can see there where the big bolt goes through and threads into this cross member. So let's have a look at this engine mount and how it compares to a new one. So although visibly it doesn't look too bad, when we compare this to a brand new one which we've got here, as you can see there's quite a difference, because the new one has a lot more rubber coming out away from the metal fitting. There you go, side by side you can see that there is a significant difference. I believe these mounts have been on this car from new, which would be decades ago. Let's have a look at the underneath and compare that. So that's the thickness of the rubber underneath, and this is the thickness of the rubber there. The main difference is the top rubber, which is quite a bit different in terms of how much it protrudes from the actual mount itself. Look at that. I mean, even if I put this in front, so it's the other way around, like this, you should be able to see. Look at that. That's that. I mean, basically that mount's collapsed, as you can see. Right, let's go about changing them. As part of changing the mounts, I also purchased all new bolts, as you can see. As you can see here, so 4 of those. 2 new center bolts and new washers and the associated washers and big washers, sorry, and the small washers which go around the small bolts either side of the mount. So I think it's essential that you should change all of these. And when I actually took the mount out, this is how they go together. So notice the curvature of this. So underneath, the flat part here is uppermost and the curved part is on the bottom, and on the bolt itself, as you can see, you've got the washer there, then you've got the curved part on the top, and the recessed part goes underneath there. That's how that looks when it's going to be fitted back in again. Okay, now the mounts have been changed. There you go, all shiny and new there, and the same over here. One thing to remember is the big center bolt is 88 Newton meters of torque, and the side ones are 25 Newton meters. Now my torque wrench starts at 28, so I just did them up at 28 Newton meters. It should be fine. Regarding the jack pad I was talking about earlier, as you can see, there is a channel, and the engine case groove sits in that channel. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful.